Whoops. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
My button was covered up.
Who covered it up?
Misclick.
My buttons. Morning, everybody.
Good morning, Max.
Welcome to the Saturday morning house party, where we sip our coffee and we talk about WikiTree. Okay.
I actually don't have a coffee. I drink it all already.
Oh, I've got enough here for you, Sarah. I can share. There you go.
Are you awake, Sarah? Are you awake?
Probably need another cup, maybe.
I have Betsy Coe. We have Greg Clark. We have Sarah. Guess what else?
What else?
What? We have a what else?
We have a
We
what
have a
else?
special guest.
Aaron Lango! WikiTree Alpha's here.
Yay!
I've always wanted to be a what else?
You're a what elf?
What elf?
What else?
What else? What else?
What elf?
Yeah. So Aaron decided to come in and try and get us under control. She said we're out of control, and so she needed to come in and
These house parties just.
These house
I'm not going to
parties.
say good morning to everybody because I'm just going to say good morning to everybody. But everybody is here. Our regulars are here. We love seeing you every Saturday morning. We think you are so important that you come in and support us, and we love being supported. So we're going to start off this morning with our question of the week.
Oh, are we?
What is that? Oh,
I thought we
there
were
it is.
starting with Betsy.
Betsy doesn't need to start because her arms aren't long enough to conduct from New York City.
Oh, but I was still going to make the announcement.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Because I had told the people who I'm going to announce that it was going to happen first.
At the beginning.
So I am still going first. And then I'm stepping away. So
You're not stepping away. Are you really stepping away?
I am really stepping away.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
No, not cool. We'll be sad. Okay.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. We are going to kick today off with a very, very exciting announcement. We've been talking about the We Will Rock You event. And ROCK is an acronym.
What did you do, Max?
Or
what is going on?
Mags is going crazy
I'm
with the
just gonna
buttons.
keep going. ROCK stands for Random Acts of WikiTree Kindness. And it's an event that will take place 3 times during the year, March, June, and September. So March is coming up. And what it is we held nominations to select 5 WikiTreeers who will get basically the WikiTree Challenge treatment. We also solicited volunteers, researchers who are going to work away on these 5 WikiTreeers branches for the entire month of March. So do we have a drum roll, Max?
We do. Oh, wait. Who's playing
Sorry.
that drum roll?
I was playing that. Sorry. I got too excited. Mags has the official drum roll.
Okay. Whoa, the symbol. Yay. Okay, so these 5 WikiTreeers were all selected randomly from amongst the nominations. The first one is Gil Whitehouse.
Hey, Gil.
Yes. Gil is a very active member of the England Project. She co-leads the Orphan Trail. And here's her family tree. And by the way, everybody who was nominated or selected was very, very excited. So
I would be.
yes, I would.
Yeah.
I tried to get my name in there. I don't know
Yes.
how I didn't get nominated.
Lots
You
and lots
did.
of exclamation points. Our second person who is going to get rocked is Bart Mulier
Oh,
of
nice.
the Dutch Project. He is very, very active, working on connecting the unconnected in the Dutch Project. Really, really fantastic work that he's doing. Yes.
Thank you for sound effects, Greg.
Nice.
Or Mags.
Our third person is, wait for it, Cindy Cooper,
Oh yeah, Cindy from the Acadian Project.
who you can also see is my 19th cousin once removed. So yes, Cindy is a leader.
Hey, wait. Is that nepotism?
That's pretty
Oh.
distant nepotism.
Cindy is a leader in the Acadian Project, also a data doctor, also has some lines in Quebec. But she specifically asked if possible, if we could help with her maternal German lines. So call out to those who are knowledgeable in German areas. Number four was the 1944 Gerber baby.
No.
No
Yeah.
way.
Really?
Yeah, there she is.
Oh my goodness.
This would be Gail Connolly.
Wow.
Hey,
We have the Gerber baby on WikiTree.
Yeah, the
he's alive and working. Yes.
the 1944.
Amazing.
Yes. Gail has just a really, really wonderful bio on her profile. So
I did not know that Gail was a Gerber baby.
Look how cute.
I want to pinch her cheeks.
I
Yeah.
know. Among many other wonderful accomplishments that came after that.
Yeah.
On WikiTree, Gail started the Holocaust Project, has also been a ranger and member of the Profile Improvement and Unknowns Project. Specifically, if possible, she would love help with some of her lines, Jewish lines in Hungary, Lithuania, Ukraine, that area.
Wow.
As you might know, the country boundaries shift over time.
Yeah.
So it's sort of hard to pinpoint a country sometimes. Specifically in the late 1800s is where she's getting stuck.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. And our fifth person who's getting raw is... Boom! I should have waited for Linda. Aaron Robertson, who is in Appalachia, Italy, and Profile Improvement Projects. And her big wish is, as you can see, she's so close to 500 connections.
Oh, so close.
Tantalizing.
Did you say the Appalachia Project?
Yes.
You said Appalachia Project?
Yes.
I get a penny every time I say that.
As opposed to Appalachia.
Or Appalachia.
Appalachia.
Chia.
Yes. So she would love just getting boosted over 500. So those are our 5 lucky people who are going to get rocked in March. And for the rest of us, it is not too late at all for you to sign up to help with any of these lines. So I believe, there it is in the chat.
Yay.
Just look through that G2G post and we will get you on the list.
Pop that G2G post. There you go.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
I know. And we will have around like a end of the month video to share what we've discovered at the end. So,
if we just leave that up the whole time, Aowen, we could move Aowen up though. We could put Aowen up.
No, just put it back up.
And you could put me down here, and there you
That's
go.
perfect. No, perfect.
Oh, that's hiding Eowyn, our special guest. Come join our live cast, and we'll cover you up with a banner.
There you go.
Once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No.
We'll
What
show
an
your
exciting day for me.
Well, that's your good shoulder.
I'm so excited for this. We will rock you.
Yeah.
Really.
We're pretty excited about it.
So how many people have you had? Do you have signed up to volunteer already, or have people started doing that?
We have 46 people signed up.
Wow.
And I was, there was a point where I was like, let's just get to 40. And now I'm like, oh, come on, let's just get to 50.
50.
Yeah. I bet you're at 50 by the end of the live cast.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That's why, 4 more days,
Right. It doesn't start till March 1st, so there's still
Right.
plenty of time.
Oh,
Right.
no.
So they could be rocking while we're rocking out at Roots Tech.
Yeah.
Right.
We will definitely be rocking out at Roots Tech, even though Sarah won't be there with Mr. Microphone. Hey, baby, I'll be back in a minute to pick you up. I'll be back in a minute. Did you guys remember that commercial? No. There was a commercial with Mr. Microphone. He's in the back of a convertible. He's passing this group of ladies on the street, and he leans out the car and says, on Mr. Microphone, holding the speaker up, hey, ladies, I'll be back to pick you up in a minute. Okay, so moving right along. Do you have anything else you wanted to add?
I'll give the tip of the week now.
Yay.
Yes, the tip of the week is all about the anniversaries list.
Ah, good. Yes.
Yeah. There we go. Okay, so the anniversaries list is something that has been around on WikiTree since 2015. But if you haven't stumbled upon it, you go to the My WikiTree menu, and it's right at the top.
It's right at the top.
Yeah.
I just go right past it. I go. That's funny.
So basically, what it is organized by date, all the birth, marriages, and dates of everybody in your watch list. So you can see that, okay, we are February 25th. Oh, look, my great uncle was born on today.
Did you know him?
I did not, no. But if we go here's his profile. I mean, the anniversary list can be a great way to remind you to share WikiTree on social media, for instance. If I wanted, there are a couple ways to do it, but here on his profile, under his menu, I can just go to share on Facebook.
Oh, wow.
And then it takes me right to this page with very, very clear instructions. You say it gives the tree that we all love, and then you can save it and just post it to your social media and, get your relatives talking and more interested and engaged in what you're doing on WikiTree. What else? You could also use it to maybe organize your research. For instance, you could decide that you're going to spruce up people's profiles who have something going on in February. That's one way I thought I'd do it. If you have living family, you can always send them up. You'd be reminded it's their birthday. Send them a WikiTree e-card.
Yeah.
Yes. And the anniversaries list is also part of the 15 for 15 challenge.
We have a comment.
Yes.
Would love a share to Twitter that easily. Is there not a Twitter code, or you can just copy that image there, Sandy, and post it?
Yeah, I linked in my post, my G2G post about today's live cast. I gave the link to Azure's YouTube video on link sharing to social media, and she goes through. I'm sure Twitter's on the list. She shows Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, a couple of others, and I think she has instructions on that video. Yeah.
I suspect that what Sandy was asking is if there could be like a pre-made page, just like the shared Facebook pre-made page that sort of sets it up for you. Like share to Twitter for dummies.
We used to have share buttons, but they were causing issues with page load times. So there were so many complaints about the page load times that those were taken off. I think I have that video up. Whoop, whoop, not that one. Yeah.
Can I tell you, Betsy, about another thing about family anniversaries?
Yes.
on the Discord channel in the app developers area.
Sorry. Go ahead.
There's been some discussion about, there was a request, someone asked if there's a way of taking the anniversaries and exporting them to a calendar, like your Google Calendar.
Yes.
And so there are some developers that are looking on that. Brian has got a beta of that. And so that might be something that's coming soon to one of the tree apps. There is an anniversaries tree apps. So that might be where something that people are talking about. I can't promise when it'll happen, but I think people are talking about that as a possibility. Now, my problem is that I haven't done what you suggested about orphaning profiles I've worked on that I don't need anymore that aren't actually related to me. So my watch list is massive. So I probably don't want a calendar of all those thousands of people.
Right. Yes. Then that was, I was going to mention that this, looking at your anniversaries list may spur you to do a little spring house cleaning. And you could take those non-family members and put them on your extra watch list if you have the WikiTree browser extension. That's
the link I have up right now is the link to Azure's share video, how to share stuff.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, that's an awesome video. I have that bookmarked. Yeah. So,
yeah, Greg, I had somebody add me to their trusted list when I first joined WikiTree, like to their entire trusted list.
Yeah.
No.
Any other ways that people use the anniversaries list?
Well, you know, the e-card you mentioned, I've had somebody send me an e-card for my great-great-great-grandfather's birthday. So what they did was they found I was related to this guy, and they sent me a WikiTree e-card because it was from the anniversary list.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah. So that is my tip of the week. And so I'm going to bid you all adieu.
Okay.
Bye, Betsy.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Have a good day,
Have a great
Betsy.
week.
We did saying goodbye. We came to see you go goodbye, goodbye.
Oh, so,
I know
look at Finn's
that.
looking at, where'd Betsy
timing.
go? Look at Finn. Where's Betsy go? He's
He's looking out the window for her.
looking
Don't
out
worry,
the window.
buddy. I'll be okay.
Yeah, we like puppies around here. We do. Okay.
I guess now back to question of the week.
Wait. We're gonna go to puppy of the week.
Puppy of the week, yes.
Everyone is reaching down to try and outdo Finn.
No, to compliment Finn.
I think Kiki already won, even though she's not a puppy.
Question of the week is: do you have New Zealand family? So
I did it again. Hold on. I'm fine. Don't mind me.
I can't hear you, Mags. You're muted.
how did I do that?
I think you might have. Did you mean to mute A1 and you muted yourself?
No, I muted myself because I was coughing a minute ago.
Oh,
So
okay.
you guys haven't heard anything I've said for like an hour, so that's okay. Back to question of the week. I was, I thought, oh, okay, New Zealand. I know we have a big crowd because oh, look at that.
Look at the puppy.
Look at the puppies. That is a cute little dog.
That is.
Oh my gosh. I want to just boop. Thank you, Alan. All right. Question of the week. Question of the week? We're going to try question of the week again.
Third time the charm.
Max,
What's
please
that?
refresh your page. Please refresh your page.
Okay. Why's that?
Why did I do that?
Because I edited the question.
Oh, you edited it.
Oh, gotcha. There we go. Thank you. Question of the week. Do you have New Zealand family? Do you? Lots of people do, apparently. I know that we have a really, really, really active project, New Zealand project. We have a very active Kiwi crew. And the project has a brand new leader. And they're hopefully going to help get things moving a little bit more. I have to say that immediately, right in the very first comments, we had somebody ask a question, and I don't normally talk about the comments. We had somebody asking a question, and then somebody answered it. Hello. If you're looking for an article, you will get a better picture about the early arrival of New Zealand Scandinavians to Mauriceville, or if you're like Morris Gleason, Morrisville. I am sure you will find it interesting reading. Regards, Jack Richardson, Tauranga, New Zealand. Mosquitoes and Sawdust by Val Burr. Thanks, Jack. I love how WikiTree people are so collaborative. And down here,
that's a long one.
Yeah. Graham Olney has picked this one as the best, and I'm not going to override his best pick by picking something that's best. This is really an interesting read. It really kind of tells the story of all of those people in the New Zealand project. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the first New Zealand Mangang, I don't know how they pronounce that, Mangan or Mangang, arriving in Littleton on board the Grasmere in 1855. But I'm going to say it's Mangang because they were French Huguenots.
Oh, yes.
So we're gonna assume that last in is like chemin. So French Huguenot Protestants, originally from Lorraine, who have connected through ancestry DNA. They fled France, leaving all they possessed, escaped savage persecution and inhuman terror under Catholic Louis XIV. Our French patriarch was Etienne. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Etienne, yeah.
Etienne Mangang, who started the first Calvin-inspired Protestant church, with others administering sacraments to his congregation from his house at Meaux near Paris. So she tells a whole story of how they left. They fled. I love how they call the New Zealand the land of the long white cloud.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And the Hobbit movies and Lord of the Rings were filmed there. So you get an idea of the clouds there. Anyway, they go through the whole story about how the family ended up fleeing Paris and running and then ending up finally in the land of the long clouds. So that's crazy cool. Probably shouldn't put your email in there. Janice Hobbs, but that's a great story. So Graham only picked that as the best. Go over and check that out. We have a lot of stuff. Robin Lozier is very, very active. I do try to add New Zealand notables whenever I read about anyone interesting. She's got a profile, a list on her profile, and everybody wanted to brag about how long they've been in New Zealand. It was like, who's been there the longest? 4 generations, 5 generations. I don't think that we have anybody that said they'd been there for 6 generations. I think that the first couple of ships arrived in the 1840s, like 1841, 1840. And people were talking about Fiona McMichael, who's actually the project coordinator for the New Zealand project, was talking about how she's been doing amazing. The little Kiwi crew's been doing amazing work on New Zealand profiles on their portion of the great big old shared tree. And this week they're working on a program called Passengers, which aired on TV down under. And so they're working on that. So they have great little projects that they have, many projects that are going on. So if you're interested in the New Zealand project, jump in to that project. Let's see. And then Graham Olney, who was the one who selected that first answer as the best. I'm a 5th generation with closer links to family in the UK, but he's a Kiwi, a 5th generation. So we have a 5th. Do we have a 6th? Okay, so let's see if we can get a 6th in there. Various profiles that ended up in New Zealand, but the closest ones were my 3 brothers who all immigrated to from Ireland whilst he had gone to Canada. I had to get Canada in there somehow this morning.
Wait, so her grandfather's 3 brothers went from Ireland to New Zealand while her grandfather was away in Canada visiting relatives?
Yep. And then she says, I would like to visit it someday. So I'm assuming the it is New Zealand, not Canada.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's El Greer. And make sure you vote up these answers, because we got to make sure these people get some love. I love this. My family hail from Dunedin, Timaru, and Auckland. 4 to 6 generations.
There's 6.
That's not. Is that 6 generations? Yeah.
Well, one of them has to be 6 generations.
Well, it actually could be back further, because there are rumors of Maori ancestry. And if you aren't familiar with New Zealand, the Maori are the indigenous tribes of New Zealand, the original peoples. And everybody wants to be connected to the Maori. I also think that Eowyn picked this question of the week so that I would have to try and pronounce some of the stuff.
That was
I'm
my
just
plan.
saying. Did you? I always say things about Eowyn in here in the morning. Did you just come in to hear what I was going to say about you in person? Oh, let's go on down. My first immigrant family arrived in January 1840 to the shores of what would become Petone or Petone. Among the first of the Wakefield settlers from Kent to New Zealand over the next 40 years, the rest of my family came from Scotland and Ireland, sometimes via the nearby colonies and now what is now called Australia.
Might have heard it.
So cool. Down under New Zealanders. That's from the first page. Let me jump over to this page. Eric Weddington says, no, but I have a mate who's a Kiwi. I keep mentioning WikiTree to him, but he says he has a bunch of family info that he needs to sort and should join, but he never does, at least not yet. Give us his phone number, Eric. We'll call him live on the show.
Right.
Unless he's in New Zealand, then just give us your phone information and we'll call him from your phone.
Right.
And I love this. I love Wiki Connections. I'm in Iowa in the United States. And thanks to the connections and the work done by others, found at, okay, here you go, Eowyn. An Aotearoa connection. Oh, God. And then there's, you got it?
I think it's Aotearoa.
Yeah, see? And then there's Hohepany Te Cooper. You got that? You gonna do it?
Hoepene Te Wake Cooper.
Very nice.
You make me sick. Magical elf.
Very good.
So anyway, so loving the WikiTree connections, getting those connections, because WikiTree is all about great connections. Let's hop on over to the next page. Love on those. Half of my family tree has been in New Zealand since the 1840s, some arriving on the first boat to sail from the UK, though the second to arrive after a difficult voyage in 1841. One of my multiple great uncles was born on the beach at Petone shortly after they arrived, according to the family Bible. Although the first child is credited with being born on the ship at anchor in the Bay of the Islands, my great uncle is reputed to be the firstborn actually born on New Zealand soil. So the first white Northern European people. Let's see. My father, born Ronald Charles Eames, Watford, UK, immigrated around 1950. So this is a later arrival. I lost track of him from then on, except for a family visit back to the UK in 1960-61. So he reportedly died in New Zealand in 1969. He was a baker by trade, working at holiday resorts, Butlins. I don't want to say Butlins. Butlins, Hailing Island. He was the name changer and womanizer, and supposedly had a wife, Kathy, in New Zealand. It's extremely likely that he may have fathered children in New Zealand under a different name.
Oh my!
So if you know anything about
DNA test.
Yeah, sounds like a DNA surprise.
Yeah, and that was the other thing. Let's hop on over to the next page, which is I have many DNA cousins in New Zealand. What a segue, Sarah.
Oh, what a segue.
That was so good. So,
and they all like baking.
They all like baking, and they have the name Evans.
At least her name wasn't Baker.
No.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
So DNA cousins. So a lot of people were talking during these great answers about New Zealand connections being DNA connections and discovering family from New Zealand through their DNA work. And then I love this. I grew up and still live in New Zealand, and they give all of the information on their family, the Germans. Wow. Isn't that cool? That's Shine Kelly. So that is the question of the week. But
I wonder if she's related to Ned Kelly. Like that, isn't that an infamous like New Zealand gangster dude?
He's on one of those bottles of wine, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? What are those called? Convicts?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So that's it.
Neat.
That's the question of the week. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you were saying she has
Eowyn.
What?
Huh?
I heard
Did you say something?
Somebody said Eowyn.
I don't know. I think Sarah did over there.
Yeah. I was saying that June was saying she had DNA matches to New Zealand, but has no idea how they're related. Maybe you have a long lost uncle who was also a womanizer.
Named Evans, who was a baker.
Maybe. Who knows?
I missed one, Mags. Oh no, John, I missed one.
Oh.
She probably missed. I mean, I'm sure we didn't go through all 77.
No, I don't think we did this day.
I'll look through and see where it is. I'm assuming
John, I guess he wants you to find his.
Be my guest.
He wants to find his comment.
Give me a hint. What page was it on?
Oh man. Are you going back to it or no?
Go ahead, Peter.
Okay.
Peter.
So the profiles of the week this week are from the DEC UVA and Freedmen Bureau Friday WikiTree 7x7 challenge. So you know that this year the WikiTree challenges are taking different groups, ancestry groups or genealogy groups. And the most recent one to coincide with Black History Month is the DEC UVA and Freedmen Bureau Friday. So in case you don't know what that stands for, DEC UVA is the Descendants of Enslaved Communities at the University of Virginia. And so this is a group that their motto says it all, or their subtitle, motto, byline, reclaim, honor, and repair. So they're doing great work tracking down and the enslaved people who were enslaved and finding their ancestors and descendants and following them. So they've got a great webpage here that talks about their project, and in association with that, there is a Facebook page for finding the enslaved laborers at UVA, which is the connection from the Freedmen Bureau Friday wiki group. And so I've got to say, before we go into any of these profiles, I've got to give a shout out to the people who worked on these and the Black Heritage users group on WikiTree. You've done amazing work. It's important work, and it's great work that you've done. These profiles are wonderful. The ones that we're going to highlight today, and it's important that these people who didn't have a voice finally have a voice and some history added to that. And very challenging too to find some of these records and some of these connections, because many times they weren't counted in the early censuses, and it's difficult to get to that. So that's sort of my overall impression when I went through all of this. I thought that I needed to start off by prefacing that. And Megs always knows how everyone's connected, but it occurred to me that I could just find that by going to my own profile. And with this latest, with the latest plugin, if you go to the bottom of your profile, it actually sorts the people who are connected to you in order. So it's easy for me to read this now.
It basically took away Mag's job.
I'm sorry, but I also wanted to point out that Sandy, who's in our chat, is one of my closest connections. So hey, Sandy. I don't know if
we're cousins.
I think we are cousins, probably.
She's my closest connection too.
Well,
that
probably
and
my
Ellen
closest
Kraft.
connection as well.
So who else is how are Sarah and Eowyn and you?
You know, I haven't got Eowyn up yet. I got to get
no.
her. I got to get Betsy. Betsy's closer to Dolly Burns.
Mm-hmm.
Let me find Aowen real quick. Let me see.
You have to go to Ramos 244. If you want to actually know.
That's so weird to see your name that way. Oh, sorry. Oops. Well, you don't have any categories for me to do a quick jump. Ooh, girlfriend, you got some close links. You're 19 degrees from Blanche Bruce, 19 degrees from Sandy Paddock.
Closer.
You're 21 degrees from Arminta Tubman. 22 degrees from Turner Malone, 19 degrees from Ellen Craft, Ellen Cornett. That's crazy. You've got lots of good matches there, Aowen.
Yeah. Great.
I think Dolly Burns was the closest.
No.
Yeah, Dolly Burns. And Sarah, Sandy Paddock, and Blanche Bruce. Oh, wait. 16 from Ellen Craft.
16.
Wow, let me look at that. And that's through your daddy.
It's always through my dad.
Hey, where's Joe Mama today?
She said she was going to go grocery shopping and then pop in after, but we'll see when that happens.
We'll see. Yeah.
We'll see.
I see where we are on her list nowadays.
So the first profile of the week is Blanche Kelso Bruce, who was born the 1st of March. So his birthday's coming up. 1841. He's not with us to celebrate his birthday, unfortunately. He passed away on St. Patrick's Day, so maybe that was a celebration. Maybe not. I don't know. Age 57, a little young. So he is a part of the U.S. Black History and part of the U.S. Black Heritage Project. His claim to fame is he is the only former slave who was actually elected as a U.S. senator, and the first African American to complete a full Senate term. I believe he was the second African American to be elected to the Senate, but the only one who was a former slave. And it wasn't until I think it was in the 70s. It says later on in the profile that he was ousted as up until the 70s. He was the only African American to complete a full term in the Senate. But he was born into slavery on the 1st of March, 1841 in Farmville, Prince Edward County, Virginia. Youngest of 11 children, of Polly Bruce, an African-American woman who served as a domestic slave. And his father, Pettis Perkinson, was a white Virginia planter, and he was her enslaver. Previously, Polly had been enslaved by Perkinson's father-in-law, Lemuel Bruce. And then this profile, like many of these profiles, it goes into a lot of details. So this particular one, there was a lot of details about growing up, talking about the lineage. It had been assumed that his heir was the father of Blanche and several of his siblings. He grew up. He had an interesting childhood because he was the son of he was a son of a slave and a slave owner. He had a half brother who was a white half brother because his father's wife, or white mistress, I guess, had a son. So he and his white half brother played together, and he received instruction from the same tutors. So he was educated, and so didn't live the harsh realities of life of the field slaves. And then he escaped slavery during the war, went to Kansas when his white half brother enlisted in the war. And then he eventually came back, and he was elected to the legislature of Mississippi, then to the U.S. Senate. And he was the second African American to serve in the upper house and the first one to complete the term. And then it goes on and continues about the rest of his career and stuff. He died young at 57 as a result of diabetes, at which point there was no cure for it at that point or remedy until insulin was discovered. So that's the first one. Next we have Dolly Burns, born Dolly Epps. No, yeah, Dolly Epps. She was born about 1830 in Louisiana. According to the Louisiana Freedmen's Bureau Field Office records, her owner was Richard Lynch. And the Freedmen's Bureau, those records are, now that they've become available online, have been a real field day for and source for many of these profiles. Wonderful work that was done and now made available on Family Search. I know, and it's free, or certainly when it was announced a couple of years ago, it was free on Ancestry. I suspect it's still free there, but I'd have to double check that. So when she was enumerated, she was 42, and she was living at in St. Mary's Parish in Louisiana. And her biography is fairly short because of the, just a few of those official records. But there's a section here for slave owners, and you'll see that in a number of these profiles as well. And then another great thing that the project people have done when they've worked on these profiles is adding research notes, because as you can imagine, when there's a shortage of records, sometimes there's stories, family stories that may or may not have been proven yet with sources, or there's some conflicting information. So that putting that information in the research notes is very important and helpful for future WikiTreeers and descendants.
I love research notes.
Oh, yes. They are wonderful. Yeah, actually, in the Christmas challenge, no one broke through the brick wall. I put my name in right at the sort of the last minute, but someone added some really great research notes to the profile of the person I was looking for, or I was trying to get beyond. So that's appreciated. So that was a present in and of itself. Back to the profiles of the week, though. Ellen Barrett Cornett. Was born into slavery in 1842, migrated to Arkansas prior to 1861. Many of the slaves that wound up in Arkansas had been sold by family and friends due to profit, punishment, bankruptcy, gambling debts, or a master's death, or a myriad of other reasons. So that's kind of interesting. In fact, one thing I really like about this profile, which I've seen in some, but not and not so much in other ones for this week, but I really like how it takes the facts we know, for example, that she was born into slavery in 1842 and moved to Arkansas, but then expands on that and gives sort of the background, or the cultural background, or the geographic, in this case, the rationale for moving from one place to another, what was happening in society at that time, and sort of gives you a bigger picture of what's going on. So it sort of fleshes out the little nuggets of information we know for sure with some of the other backgrounds. So it flows nicely as a story, is good reading. Son Jeff was born in Arkansas, just south of they also provide room and board for south of Little Rock here. Arkansas was fully restored to the United States, right, because they had seceded and were part of the Confederacy. They became the second Confederate state to gain readmission. Of course, my first question was then, what was the first state? But I didn't look that up in time. But maybe
I'm just going to guess it was not South Carolina.
Someone in the chat will probably know right away who the first state was to gain readmission. But anyways, and then the profile goes on and talks about her life. She was in 1910. She was a widowed mother living in the household of her son. 5 of her 8 children in 1900. 5 of her 8 children were still living. And she died in 1915. Again, there's a section here on her enslavement and slave owners, and then family notes. I've seen this in a couple of these profiles. There are paragraphs that were written by descendants, and there's a note on these. Please do not edit, because these are quotes directly from the descendants. So we want to honor these and leave them as they are. I'm excited about this opportunity. My 3rd great-grandmother, Ellen Barrett, is indicative of what a Black woman faced at a critical point in the reconstruction of this country. Our family passed down stories about her life to remind us of our resilience and how hard our family fought to stay together. And then it goes on with some more details and stuff. So that's really neat. And then the research notes continue on about the story and whatnot. So very cool.
Great profile.
That is.
Yeah. All of these were well done. Like picked, well picked, well done research and everything. Yeah. So very impressive. Oh, Sandy was the Tennessee was the first to. There we go. Of course, Sandy would know, right? South Carolina was the first to leave. You, so that's why you figured it wasn't the first to return.
Yeah. They were the first shots in the whole thing there on Fort Sumter. Yeah.
Ellen Smith.
This was my closest. It's an interesting story.
Oh,
I did not mention how I was close to a lot of these people. This is my closest at 14 degrees. And this woman and Barack Obama and I share family together in this line. So Barack is a really close cousin of mine. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
Through the Welborn family. This
is cool. So Ellen was born into slavery, and so was her husband. But they had an unusual and daring attempt. They escaped slavery because she masqueraded as a white male slave owner, and William was accompanying her because she was pretending he was her slave.
And there are more reasons why I should be close to her.
So their escape was successful and became well known. Yeah. So she was born into slavery, 1826, to a mixed race slave and her wealthy planter owner. So her mother was already mixed race, and her father was white. So that would explain her lighter complexion.
You know, saying that she's mixed race is probably better to say she was the product of some nastiness. Just
no,
saying.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was not nothing easy about any of this. But she married William Craft, and her own slave owner, I guess, had a half interest. But she passed herself off as a white male planter. So not only she changed her race and her gender to pull this off in appearances, and he traveled as her personal servant, and they escaped by train and steamboat, arriving in Philadelphia on Christmas Day. Well, that's a nice Christmas present. They made it to Boston, where they were living, and they'd been married as slaves in Georgia, but they got officially married in Boston. But because they were prominent fugitives, and there was a Fugitive Slave Act,
yes,
which I guess would re-enslave them if they were caught, they escaped to Liverpool, England, lived there, raised their children there, lived there for almost 2 decades.
And in England, in 1810, outlawed returning slaves in 1810. And I learned that on that show. I've been watching that show called Enslaved with Samuel L. Jackson last night. I watched it.
Nice.
So 1810, that happened in, they didn't outlaw slavery, but.
The returning of them, yeah.
Yeah.
So going to England was a safe harbor for them. And so they stayed there, but then they did eventually come back to the States and settled back in South Carolina. Who knew? Yeah. And she passed away in 1891. But what an amazing story.
Very.
Yeah. Rose Fortune, born in 1774 in Philadelphia. Had 2 husbands, passed away at the age of 89 in Annapolis Royal, Nova Scotia, in, well, what would be Canada. It wasn't Canada yet in 64 because Canada didn't become a nation until 67. But
I wonder if she was a loyalist.
What's that?
I wonder if she was a loyalist.
No, I think she escaped. Well, she escaped during the Revolutionary War. Well, anything to get away from whether she was a royalist or not. But she was the first female police officer in North America because she patrolled the docks of Annapolis Royal, which is in Nova Scotia.
10 years old. Wow.
So she immigrated when she was 10 years old to Annapolis Valley. She was born into slavery in Virginia, and then they escaped to New York City, her family, and moved to Canada, to Nova Scotia when she was 10. She started her own business, carting luggage in a wheelbarrow between the ferry docks and nearby homes. And then she became entrusted with safeguarding that property and maintaining order on the wharves and warehouses of Annapolis Royal. is acting as the town's waterfront police officer. Don't touch luggage. Don't touch that luggage.
I mean, if you look at the watercolor of her, I wouldn't argue with her.
No, she was a force to be reckoned with. No doubt.
I mean, just the posture she's got there.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. But sadly, she was buried in an unmarked grave. But then a marker was added afterwards in her honor.
And I have to say, if you've ever read the Book of Negroes, it's a fictional account of some of these stories. But living in Nova Scotia was not easy. Not easy in the least. It wasn't running away to...
No.
It was hard.
Mm-hmm.
Good honor.
Yeah. Next, we have Miles Haney, born in 1830 in Tennessee. And he was born into slavery in 1830. Passed away in 1880 when his name appears on the federal census in Jackson, Nevada, Arkansas. Neither he nor his wife, who was born into slavery in Mississippi, knew where their parents were from. And that's sad. Their daughter was also living with them at that time. And then we have some family notes. Based on oral tradition, Miles and his family were owned by Haney and Satterwhite families. We know that Wilburn Haney, son of George Luke Haney and Mary Baker Haney, married Martha Ann Satterwhite, daughter of Thomas Satterwhite and Mary Pounds Satterwhite, in 1849. So we have some possible families there, but they don't have any official documentation yet. So we've got some information here under possible slave owners. Again, the Satterwhite and Haney names come up. So there's some places there where future WikiTreeers or descendants can go to continue the research. But I'm, depending on the number of records, I wonder if DNA is might be the way to go in terms of trying to find some more hints too. So. Yep,
I agree with that.
Yeah. Jefferson Logan, born in 1836 in Missouri. To Moses or Maisie Logan, also born in Kentucky. After his birth, his father was able to buy his own freedom, his wife's freedom, and one son's freedom. And at the start of the Civil War, he gave his 3 children that were still enslaved $100 each and counseled them to loan it out with interest so that they would be able to buy their own freedom eventually. In 1862, Jefferson, along with 2 other men, escaped to Iowa. So his father had some financial sense to him there, and gave a bunch of those. He married in Iowa, Mary Hayes. They had 2 sons. He married in 72. His wife died in 75, and Jefferson did not remarry. I wonder if she died as a result of childbirth or shortly thereafter.
Yeah, the Clarence was born in 75.
Yeah.
That's a good guess there.
Yeah, that's sad. He joined his brother. He returned to Iowa, became a prominent businessman. So that financial know-how that his father had obviously rubbed off on him. He was the treasurer of the Iowa State Bystander, an African-American newspaper, when it began publishing. By close attention to business and frugality, he has been successful in securing considerable, very valuable property, which requires his time looking after it. In 1904, he was the wealthiest Black man in Des Moines. Isn't that very cool? He's listed as a freedom seeker in the Iowa Freedom Trail Project. Neat. And there's a research note from his son, the funeral of his son, and so on. So, pretty neat. Turner Robert Malone I was born around January in 1844. He was the son of John Williams and Eliza Kelly, born into slavery on the plantation of Mrs. Lynch Rowell, who was the sister of Tom Lynch, near Alexandria City in Virginia, somewhere between 38 and 44. When he was only 6 weeks old, Mrs. Lynch Rowell sold Turner, his mother Eliza, and 2 brothers to Bill Malone. So imagine having to pick up and leave and move to a whole new, well, picking up and moving to a new place with a newborn is hard enough, but when you're enslaved, they sold them all together? Well, I don't know. It says mother and 2 brothers. If those are the only, maybe the whole family went, but not necessarily, right?
No, I was going to get excited that had happened.
Yeah. He enlisted in Company G of the Colored Infantry in 1864, and he fought under the name Buck Malone. Buck was a nickname that was used by his former slave owner. After the war ended, he started using the name Turner R. Malone. But R doesn't stand for an initial. It's just the last letter of his first name.
But it sounds important.
It does sound important, yes. Having an initial makes it sound so much more official. Applied for a pension and was granted one. There's details there.
Down in the research notes, the family oral history says that he was enslaved near Alexandria, enslaved with his mother Nancy. When Turner was 1, they were sold near Floyd, Georgia. I want to hope they stay together.
Yeah. This is a note from when he was in the war. His regiment went without provisions for 4 days during the war. He found some fresh meat to eat, but the meat gave him diarrhea. And then the diarrhea was treated by drinking a mixture of oil and turpentine. And this caused his kidneys to hemorrhage. After that, his kidney on the left side caused him pain. When Turner was discharged, he caught smallpox from someone in the camp. And 2 days after he came home, he was bedridden. He remained in isolation 6 to 8 weeks and received very poor care. I mean, amazing he survived that at all. But he did, and had 3 children. And it was found in the Freedmen's Bureau, again, that source of records and stuff. So, and then there's lots of other details there, but very, very interesting profile. Ned Mason. Now, this one, I'm not sure. So he was born in 1903. So he himself was not enslaved. So and it is a very short profile. So I'm wondering, if I clicked on the wrong link, but he's part of the U.S. Black Heritage Project. Migrated from North Carolina to Pennsylvania. Son of Roberta Belfield, married Ella Huff, and died in 1967. So,
I wonder if it's his parents
that we should be talking about. I wonder. Yeah, I went up there.
No, not his parents either.
Yeah, because she was born in 86. That's still after.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Interesting, though.
Yeah. Then we have Alice Wells, born about 1865 in Georgia.
You skipped one.
No, I'm saving her for last.
So good for you.
But thanks for keeping an eye on me, because I could have easily messed this up. She was born in 1865, probably the daughter of Henry Moorman. Again, there's not all the records that you'd hope to have. But Henry left when he died in 1871 in Lawrence County, Georgia. He left in his will. He left his daughter Alice, spelled Allis. Which is how you'd pronounce it, how you'd spell it if you were just trying to do it phonetically, right? Left her mother's chest, a spinning wheel, the kitchen table, and other household furniture. I thought, isn't that interesting? Yeah. A spinning, specifically a spinning wheel. So that must have been important to him or her mother, probably. And the fact that he had her mother's chest, but there's no name for the mother that was anywhere on the record. That's kind of sad that we're missing that little piece of information.
Well, you would want to think that maybe one of the kids, Ruthie, Ida, Winnie, Flora Lee, Ivory. Oh, how fun! How to spell that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you would think that maybe one of the kids was named for her. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. So that would be good, but sometimes even when in the early censuses, right? When the slaves were included, sometimes they were just tick marks in some of them, right?
Right.
So,
just their ages.
So it's heartbreaking. She was married at 16 to Wynne Wells, for the Justice of the Peace. It looks like someone stopped midway in this paragraph here. I went to edit mode to see, well, maybe the rest of the paragraph was cut off because of a formatting break, but no, it just ends with W. Their wedding was what? Anyways, they had 9 children, and interesting. So in one of the 1910 census, she'd reported that she had 12 children, 10 of them living. So I guess 2 of them passed away young. And there we go. She died after 1910. So she was in the 1910 census. I wonder if that means they haven't found her in the 20 or any of the later censuses yet. So, and then the final one is the only profile, the only person I actually knew of or had heard of before. But most people probably have heard of Harriet Tubman.
She has great connections to Canada as well, too.
Exactly. In fact, there is a church that's just about 10 minutes south of Aurelia, where I live, or the area where I live, that was part of where some of the people from the Underground Railway settled. So there's a close geographic connection to where I am right now. But of course, Harriet Tubman, iconic figure in the history of U.S. civil rights, renowned abolitionist and conductor of the famed Underground Railroad. Her birth name was Araminta Ross, or Minty, and she was born into slavery around 1822 on Anthony Thompson's plantation in Dorchester County, Maryland. Now, I knew of Harriet Tubman. What I didn't realize it was Maryland, and I didn't realize that Maryland had slavery. Yeah. I thought it was too far north.
No,
I thought
right below it. Some of the biggest battles were just across the line in Pennsylvania, like Gettysburg is right at Maryland.
Yeah. See, I didn't put I always thought, much deeper south, right? I didn't realize that Maryland was. So she was the 5th of 9 children, so right smack dab in the middle of the family. Her parents had married around 1808. And this is kind of neat. Neat-ish. Their respective enslavers had married. So the owner of her mother and the owner of her father married each other, and then that brought them together. So they got married. So there's a small little silver lining there.
Yeah, that the family was together.
Yeah. At the time, her father was enslaved by Thompson. Her mother was enslaved by Mary Pattison Brodess. And then Mary passed away, leaving Rit and her children enslaved by the minor son, Edward, under Anthony Thompson's guardianship. This allowed the family to stay together. So there you go. They stayed together for a while. But then they did start getting separated. At one point, she was struck in the head with a heavy weight or a stone, and the effects of this injury included headaches and seizures, which plagued Harriet for the rest of her life. Eventually, several of her sisters were sold, so that's very sad. Harriet married in 1840. She married a local free black man, John Tubman, where her last name, the last name that we know her by, comes from. And that's when she started using her name Harriet instead of Araminta or Minty. She escaped with a couple of her brothers, but then they came back, but she didn't stay for long. She did escape herself in 1849 to Philadelphia. And then there she worked, saved her money, and she repeatedly returned to Maryland to rescue others from slavery. And one of the nicknames that they've given her is Moses, because she brought her people to freedom. Just like
there's a movie that came out 2 years ago called Harriet, and it really documents. She actually led a revolt of slaves and ended up getting these people and getting them on ships right underneath the noses of the Confederacy. So it's crazy. My profile, the extension for WikiTree, says that she's my 16th cousin 5 times removed, but it also says that she is my 20th great grandmother twice. It shows 2 different routes that she's my great grandmother.
Wow.
How fun is that?
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So after the Fugitive Slave Act, the one that we talked about in the previous profile, she moved to St. Catharines in Ontario. Woohoo! there's our Canada connection, and stayed there for 8 years, and brought many people across to St. Catharines.
And she was an abolitionist and preaching abolitionism in Canada a lot, and in England, correct? I believe.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she served with the Union Army during the Civil War. Scout, nurse, cook, and spy.
Yep, a spy.
A spy. But it wasn't because of a spy. It's because she was a nurse that she actually got a pension out of the deal. The nurse was, I guess, legit, the one you can put down on the official forms. And then eventually did move back to New York. And there's a nice picture of her. So she's there on the left, and there's her husband sitting down. And other family, there's boarders and children from neighbors, and this is her great niece, I think it is.
Nice.
So there we go. Well done. And then there's more details. Nice picture here of her. Anyways, these profiles were all amazing, and the U.S. Black Heritage Project is
Emma Macbeth has done such an incredible job with that project.
Fantastic.
It's just a great job. Huzzah to you for that. That's great, Emma.
Yeah. Okay.
Sarah, I know it's really late, but do you want to talk about any of the pictures that we have up?
There's 2 from last week, and one I'm really excited about because
oh no, it must have a llama in it.
That would no, unfortunately. But some kind of animal.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, okay. Am I sharing it?
Oh, there's my roomie.
There. Okay. So this is one of them. This is one. Only 2 got uploaded since last week. So we have this one. I think that's kind of cute. What? I think it's a tire. He's holding a tire.
It looks like a tire. I wonder if it's a tractor tire. Look at the.
No, it's a Model T tire.
A what?
Model T tire.
Oh, does it say that?
No, it doesn't say that. I just recognize it.
Mag just knows things.
1918.
Yeah.
The next door neighbor to my grandmother had a really big penchant for automobiles. He had Rolls Royces, he had old Model Ts, he had all sorts of stuff. And that looks like a Model T tire.
Okay.
And this is in Indiana, Michigan City.
Okay.
And then the next photo. It's wonderful. Look.
There's a doggy.
2 little puppies.
No way.
Wow.
Aw.
Ooh, look at that.
A spaniel and a black
retriever?
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah.
a golden. Anybody in the windows? I'm looking in the windows too.
This is a pretty house too. Look, the guy looks like he's over. It looks like a guy here. And him.
Where is this from?
I don't know. I was excited about the dogs. I didn't look. England and Oxfordshire.
Oxfordshire, yes.
And Kathleen Thompson uploaded this one. She uploads a lot of photos. So,
GSL says that I missed the homes last week. You may have, but don't worry, not Emma. This is the last one of the month, though. So
yeah, I know.
Okay.
There was only a couple there. We can look at the photos. I think only 2 were from last week.
Is that from last week?
And then I think this one was also from last week.
100-year-old Japanese re-erected in Ingham.
Where's Ingham?
Little news article. So.
Oh, Brisbane. From Japan to Brisbane.
Cool.
Yep. And then that was it. I was just excited about the dog one, but.
And Aaron's really interested in the garden rather than the dog.
I thought the person holding the dog looked like Walt Disney.
Ooh.
But probably not if he was in England.
Maybe related. Maybe.
It was the hat and, the little mustache.
Oh, let me get myself in order here. We got stuff coming up. Get myself together. So I've already been on the social media. Let's go with that. The social media. So we're going to the week of Sunday, February 26th, which is tomorrow. I have a talk with the Halton Peel Ontario Genealogist Society for Black History Month. Going to be talking about an African Canadian family history mystery. If you're interested, you can check out the Halton Peel Ontario Genealogical Society for that. For WikiTree, we've got stuff coming up next week. What's going to happen next week, people?
Roots
Tech. Elf actually wears elf ears at Roots Tech. I'm just saying.
Really?
She does.
No.
Dresses in an elf costume.
Like for years, Chris wanted Mags to be a tree.
He wanted me to dress up in a costume, and I'm like
as a tree?
No.
Yeah, yes.
The WikiTree.
No,
Mags
I often
is like 5'2".
Yeah, 5'5". Thank you.
He wanted
Eowyn, though. Eowyn is. I keep calling her Little Elf because I'm making fun. Eowyn is a giant of a person. She is very tall, like really tall. So Eowyn is, when I always joke about her being little, because I do think of her as a little elf running around the tree getting stuff done. But in stature, she's quite tall. So she would be a much better tree, Chris.
She would be a hard no on that one.
No.
Hard no. Yes, that's right.
So we're going to be at Roots Tech next week. So we will still be doing the live cast, but beware, because it's our live cast. We are going to do it at the regular time, Mountain Standard Time.
For us.
So 10 a.m. for us, which would be, what, 2 here? 10, 11, 12 p.m. here.
12
noon.
Noon
Eastern.
Noon. So catch us at noon. So
noon
yeah.
Eastern.
There was a tree at Roots Tech. Hillary is correct.
Oh my gosh, and he was fantastic, and we were like, we can never be that good. So
No,
my favorite was the dinosaurs.
Oh, the dinosaurs are hilarious.
I bet the dinosaurs will be back this year. I'm not sure the tree didn't come last year. So what we've got coming up this week, we've got one place studies Wednesday, one name study Tuesday. We've got Project Showcase showing up in G2G posts. WikiTree livecast, of course, it's 12 noon next week. What is WikiTree? How to use WikiTree? I believe that would be Betsy Coe's.
No, that's she's been sharing. Connie Knox did a whole big thing about using WikiTree, so we've been sharing little chapters from that.
Nice. Connection Finder on Friday. No bingo Friday, or
there is bingo
on the 3rd. There, yeah.
There's bingo Friday.
Keep scrolling.
Wait.
Keep going.
How did
there
the 217 get in the middle of March?
Don't know.
That's throwing me off. March 3rd, Friday night bingo. Yes. There's also going to be bingo during Roots Tech in there, Eowyn.
Yeah, we're doing bingo at the booth.
Bingo at the booth. And Greg and I may do, and Betsy, if Betsy's there, may do play-by-plays.
Yes.
Eowyn pulling out the card. She's getting ready to read another number. What will that be? Meet our members on the 4th. Then the 3rd, the Sounding Roundup again, live cast from Roots Tech. Homes for the photos. We wrap that up today. So what's the next month's photo of the week theme? Do you know yet, Eowyn?
I don't do that one anymore.
Oh.
Okay. Megs, you should scroll back. You didn't mention that we're actually going to be live casting every day from Roots Tech.
Yes, we are.
I think that's in that calendar as well.
Yes, we're going to be live casting from Roots Tech. So you see 4:30 noon, but these are all Mountain Standard Time.
The theme is sport.
Sport?
For the photos.
Oh, sport. Look, there.
Sport.
Thank you, Sarah. And really quickly, let me go back up here, jump over to G2G really fast, go to questions, and will we see you at Roots Tech? We hope we do. If you are at Roots Tech, come by and say hi and jump into a picture with us.
We're doing that at 10:55 on Friday.
10:55 a.m. on Friday. We're going to do a big picture. So wear your orange, come and take a picture with us. Then, let's see what's happening around. I love you, Eowyn, by the way.
This is great.
I do.
I've got to get the March one going. It has just a couple things on it. So
So Dan, oh no, we don't have anything yet for March. So, but there's not. So we're the last thing this time. So she's got to get it cranked out for next week. But we've got social media.
Scroll down. I started it. Like, keep going. There's a C also for March. No, go back up.
Go back up
to the bottom of the original post. Under the comment for the original post.
Oh, the comments.
Yeah. So right there, see also March. So I started March. Up. Yeah, there you go. I started March.
I need a lot of help sometimes.
You really do.
Oh, look. March 5th, new member Q&A with Betsy Co. and Friday Night Migo the 31st.
Oh.
So there you go.
We don't
50 Nations Tour Argentina, 15 for 15 mission. How many people are doing 15 for 15? We got those coming up. So that's it. So that's the week that was.
That's the week that we was. Any special words, A1?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you glad you joined us?
We're glad you joined us. I'm glad to be here. You guys are awesome, and there's so much great stuff happening around WikiTree. It's exciting.
It's fun, and it's fun to be able to hang out on Saturdays and talk about this, and it's so much fun to have special guests and have our regulars like Sarah and Betsy and Greg. We have a good time on Saturdays. Wear your house coat, bring your coffee, bring your Irish coffee.
You guys are great.
All right, we will see you next
live from Roots Head.
Live from Roots Head.